Bonjour, bienvenue, and welcome to the 6th edition of Stories Steeped in Stone. And boy, do we have a jam-packed episode for you tonight. I'm so glad to be here with you all in the Ermatinger Heritage Discovery Center and sharing virtual space with those who are tuning in from home. My name is Tova Arbus, and I'll be your MC tonight. We meet here together in Boating, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Michif-Pi. We honor the covenant chain of mutual respect, including the two-row wampum belt, and our responsibilities as signatories for the 1850 Robinson-Huron Treaties and Upper Canada Treaties. I wish to acknowledge in particular the Batchewana and Garden River First Nation, historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council, and the Missinaibi Cree who were displaced from their traditional territory. We must all work to honor, respect, and uphold the rights and sovereignty of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Please forgive the notes. We've got so much going on tonight, my brain could not handle it all. So I'd love to tell you a little bit more about Stories Steeped in Stone. This variety series features 13 performances, and each one showcases a diverse lineup of talents. We have artists and creatives from across Algoma region who will draw their inspiration from stories, culture, and landscape of this area. Makes it really personal and heartfelt, and already I've heard so many that I connect to, and I'm sure many in the audience have. I hope it's the same for you tonight. So while the theme may be steeped in stone, no two shows are alike. Audiences are treated to diversity, as I mentioned. Music, theater, storytelling, poetry, dance, performance art, and heritage demonstrations. There are so many different stories and experiences, you'll definitely want to catch them all. So as I mentioned, tonight is the 6th show in the series, and the first time we have so many talented performers all on one stage. The stories you are about to experience share a common theme of family and connection, mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, labor and labors of love. And if previous shows were any indication, tonight's performances will be heartfelt, engaging, and highly entertaining. It's become a traditional part of this series to share a special heritage moment, and tonight is no different. I would like to welcome to the stage Penny Gribbon, tonight's heritage presenter, who will take us back to the past to the 1800s with some stories and information about the lives of the women of the fur trade. Please welcome Penny.
Stories steeped in stone. Stories steeped in culture and heritage. I am of European descent that goes back generations on both sides of my family. I grew up in Northern Ontario, and yet I never learned of this history in school in Sault Ste. Marie. Researching this heritage presentation on the role of Indigenous women in the fur trading industry has been a bit of an eye-opener, and I realized that there's much that I don't know about this area. The women of the fur trade were essential to the fur trade industry. Without them, the European fur trader would not have survived. This was a unique and culturally complex society that blended Indigenous and European customs that survived for 200 years. The fur trader's wife served as a cultural and linguistic interpreter. She was a peacemaker and liaison between the fur trader and the Indigenous countrymen, teaching the men not only the language, but the custom and the ways. She served as a guide. She knew the terrain. She knew the footpaths through the bush, and she knew the seasons and where to take safety. She set up camp, pitched the tents, cut the firewood, prepared the food, gathered the berries, the wild rice, ground corn to make corn flour, a staple of their diets, trapped small game, even making the snares and traps for the rabbit and partridge, and fished, having made the nets. The fur trader's wife made the clothing, tanned the moose or deer hides, sewed the moccasins, which was essential footwear for travel in the wilderness, and netted the snowshoes. She treated cuts and burns and bites and many of the perils of living in the wilderness by knowing the medicinal plants. She was a teacher, showing the men how to prepare the skins for shipment to the hatters in the cities. The fur trader's wife gave birth, raised children, and tended to the needs and comforts of her husband. She kept the home fires burning. The marriages most often were conducted in a manner of the country called la féconde de paix, a local custom that did not require a church or a marriage license. Some of these marriages were temporary, as the men moved on to different trapping and trading areas. Others lasted a lifetime. This was the case with the builder of the old stone house, Charles Oakes Ermatinger, where we are now. He was first-generation Canadian from Montreal, and his Ojibwe wife, Nonna, whom he called Charlotte, stayed together until the end and had many children. He built her this mansion in the wilderness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Penny Gribbon, everybody. Oops. That's important. I really love to hear these heritage moments. It doesn't matter how many layers back of history you peel, there's always something new to learn and understand. It was so interesting to hear what Penny shared tonight. We often hear history from the male perspective or a settler-centric perspective. We don't often get to hear the voices of women or the voices of Indigenous women, and it's clear that they were such a fundamental part of the success of the fur trade, keeping the home and the business thriving while the men were off trapping or traveling or doing whatever else they were doing. I know how hard those women worked, and I really appreciate these moments to recognize their voices. We really are on such a journey of learning and understanding. I love to be here gaining those new moments and unfolding new understanding with you all. So we're going to travel forward in time now as our next performer sweeps us into the 1940s with two popular Italian songs of that time. Bringing us into this whole new era, please welcome the lovely Rachel Laurenti.
I'm honored to be here tonight, here to honor la nonna, I nonni, I genitori da noi, our ancestors, our family members. This first song is called by Nila Pizzi, and it came to me from Nonna Laurenti, one of her favorite songs, and it is about a woman who is sending her love off on a white dove to her spouse or her boyfriend who is away. White dove, please tell him to come back. Please tell him that I am here. I am waiting for him. And when we come together, that we will never part again. Dio del ciel, se fossi una colomba, vorrei volar laggiù dove mi amor, che inginocchiata San Giusto prega con l'animo mesto. Fa che mio amore torni, ma torni presto. Vola, colomba bianca, vola, diglielo tu che tornerò. Dile che non sarà più sola e che mai più la lascerò. Fummo felici uniti, cian divisi, ci sorrideva il sole, il cielo e il mar. Noi lasciavamo il cantiere, lieti del nostro lavoro, e il campanon din don ci faceva il coro. Vola, colomba bianca, vola, diglielo tu che tornerò. Tutte le sere m'addormento triste e nei miei sogni piango, invoco te. Pure mi veggio di sogna, penso alle pene sofferte, piange, nasconde il viso tra le coperte. Vola, colomba bianca, vola, diglielo tu che tornerò. Diglielo tu che tornerò. And the second song that I am honored to sing, growing up, I heard my Nonna Laurenti sing it via recording, and my father sing it to his mom, and my grandfather was singing it to his mom. Now I am honored to sing Mama for all of the women who come before all of us. This song is from the 1940s, and it talks about, well, it's basically a daughter or a son singing to their mother. This song is very special to our family and to this community. I hope you enjoy it. Mamma, son tanto felice perché ritorno da te. La mia canzone ti dice che è il più bel sogno per me. Mamma, son tanto felice viver lontano perché, mamma, solo per te la mia canzone vola. Mamma, sarai con me, tu non sarai più sola. Quanto ti voglio bene, queste parole d'amore che ti sospira il mio cuore, forse non si usano più. Mamma, ma la canzone la più bella sei tu la vita, e per la vita non ti lascio mai più. Sento la mano tua stanca, cercami riccioli d'or. Sento la voce ti manca, la nina nanna d'allor. Oggi la testa tua bianca io voglio stringere al cuor, mamma. Solo per te la mia canzone vola, mamma. Sarai con me, tu non sarai più sola. Quando ti voglio bene, queste parole d'amore che ti sospira il mio cuore, forse non si usano più. Mamma, ma la canzone la più bella sei tu la vita, e per la vita non ti lascio mai più. Mamma,
Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Laurenti. Wasn't that beautiful? Oh, my heart is full. You could just hear the love of generations in her voice and in the words. So appreciated hearing that storytelling in song tonight. Our next story is going to take us even deeper into the 1950s and the Italian immigrant experience here in Sault Ste. Marie with a steelworker's story, Paid for Not Working. And this is written by local author Ray Stortini, directed by Loretta Durat, and performed by Ryan Mauro.
My father spent most of his working years at the steel plant. Now, back in those early days, there was no collective agreement, no union, no benefits, and no vacations with pay. Now, when the United Steelworkers of America, Local 2251, became the certified bargaining agent, a lot of benefits were negotiated on behalf of the workers, including paid vacations for the very first time. Now, my father was the proud holder of a certificate of a fourth-class stationary engineer. It was always framed and hung up on a wall. He worked in the gas engine room at the plant. And at the end of each week, the foreman would go and post the shift schedule for the next week. At one particular week, my dad checked the schedule. Okay. Anthony, Antonio, Tony M. Giuseppe Pasquale. Clark, Clergue. To his dismay, his name was not on the list. He thought he was being disciplined, but for the life of him, he just couldn't figure out why. At home, my oldest brother, John, noticed that Dad was down in the dumps, and so he asked him what the problem was. Dad had said that he was ordered to stay home from work for a week, and he couldn't figure out what he had done wrong to deserve the punishment. So that very next day, my brother, John, went to go speak to the foreman. Hey, why is Dad being disciplined by deprivation of work? The foreman laughed, and he said, "Haven't you read the latest collective agreement? After so many years of working here, your father is entitled to 1 week's vacation with pay." Dad couldn't believe it. You mean to tell me they're going to pay me for staying home? That next week, Dad got up early every morning, shaved, put on a suit. He went to the hospital to visit friends. He ended up at the Marconi, where he celebrated by having a few drinks, as befitting as a signore, which, indeed, he was for that week. Salute. Thank you.
That was such a fantastic portrayal of that story, Ryan Mauro, everyone.
Thank you.
Salud.
Salute. Hey, Antonio.
So as I mentioned, that piece is from a steelworker story written by Ray Stortini, And we are privileged to have Ray here in the audience tonight. Lovely to have shared that story of your family. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Our next story will be told in a series of theatrical vignettes. These vignettes describe what it was like to live in 1950 Sault Ste. Marie and have a husband working at the steel plant. Written and workshopped by Skye Smith, the characters are fictional, but the stories are inspired by real and true events. All set, Barb? Great. Join me in welcoming to the stage the students of the Northern Arts Academy in their performance of The Steelworker's Wife.
Ciao. My name is Angela Ciatti. I come from Venezia, Italiana. 10 years ago, my husband, Lorenzo, he find no work in Italiano. It's so sad. And so he come to the Sault Ste. Melia, the Sioux. And after a month of living here, he writes me a letter and he says, Angela, the people, the jobs, you got to come down. And so I pack my mama and I pack my sister and we come down. And oh, it's so sweet when I get down here. Me and Lorenzo, we marry. But we have no money. So I have to make clothes and watch the boys down the street until Lorenzo starts working at the steel plant. And now we have 2 boys and 3 girls. They're my twins. My mama, she loved to play with the bambino. But my sister, she work at the grocery store. She find no husband yet. So she's still living with us. My Lorenzo, he works so hard. At first, he would work the early mornings to the late nights. But now, 8 hours, no more every day. He part of the United Steelworker, and they fight hard for that. He work late, but not like before. He just be so tired and come home so late. My boys, Mario and Fasco, and my Stelina, Amelia, they go to school. My twins, Bianca and Bella, they go to school in September. Oh, the other day, Amelia with M.A.L.E. written on her paper. And I say, but Amelia, this is know your name. And she says her teacher wants her to write E-M-I-L-Y on all of her papers. And I say, but why? This is not your name. And she have to do what her teacher says. I love this Sioux, I do. Oh, Dio mio, I have to tell this story. When I first come down, I no speak English, so I have to run down the street to get Mariana, because we have the cook come for the wood stove. Mariana, she speaks English and Italiano, so I have to grab Mariana, and I say, Mariana, please help me. So she comes down, and she explains to the man that the coke is for the wood stove in the basement, and to shovel it in with the, what is it called? It's the shivola, the chute. With the chute, yeah? And so he shovels it down, and Mariana goes, hey, Joe, metalliola! And the man goes, okay, missus, and he starts shoveling. And I just so impressionato. I say, Mariana, you've only been here 2 boats, already speaking like a 3, and you even know the man's name? And Mariana says, here in Canada, you call everybody Joe. Lorenzo's back. I got to bring him his coffee. Ciao, have a good night.
I'm Dorothy Novak, and I work here in the cafeteria at the steel plant. I'm the baker, and I stay here until after the lunch rush. Most of the men here bring their own lunches, but we do have our regulars. Vincenzo, he comes every Friday. I think for my Bresquice, peaches, but he says it's because his wife volunteers at the hospital on Fridays. Armando, he used to come every day. Tragic what happened to him. He died last year. It's hard to think about. A ladle came loose from its cables on a huge crane and spilled red-hot molten metal all over the floor. They say he tried to outrun it, but it caught up to him. Oh, the things that I hear. Most of the men here are from Italy, and boy, do they know how to turn on the charm. One of my friends was dating this Italian man named Lorenzo, and they would go every Friday night to the Marconi from his house for drinks. And then one Friday, some woman answers the door, and my friend's like, "Who are you?" And the woman's like, "I'm Angela Ciotti, Lorenzo's wife. Who are you?" and slammed the door in her face. Needless to say, they never saw each other again. Those Italian men think they're so hot. That's why I would never date an Italian man. Never mind one that works at Algoma Steel. One minute they're cheating on you, and the next minute they're dying in a river of hot metal. It's so wonderful being here. Here comes Vincenzo now.
Ciao, Dotti. Come stai?
Ciao, Bello. Enjoy your lunch.
Grazie, grazie. Ciao, my name is Vincenzo. My Elizabeth, she make me the lunch, but not today, Friday. She go to the ospedale to volunteer on Venerdì, Friday. Me, I am a machinist. I come from Bologna, Italia. My sister, Francesca, she write to me to tell me about Sault Ste. Marie, you know? The Sioux, she say the winter, it's so cold. But the summer like Bologna, and she have a garden. I love to be in the garden. The basilico, I roll it up and put it in my nozzle, and I look at all the, how do you say fiori? Oh, flower. And so I come to the Sioux to work as a machinist, like my papa. I meet Elizabeth, secondo te piaceria, the steel plan. I burn my arm on the machine. Dio mio! I never feel pain like that. But I meet my Elizabeth at the ospedale. You see, it is Friday, and Elizabeth, she volunteer on Friday. She know Italiano, but I say, bella donna, she the most beautiful woman I ever see. And so I say to Elizabeth, per favore, you come swimming with me at the locks. And so we marry. My papa, he come to the Sioux when I a bambino. He sends my mom money until we come to the Sioux. My Nonna, she die, and so we come. My papa, he come home one day, no happy. He say, I know on the schedule next week. Ma, why? He say, he punito, punished. And so I go to say to foreman, but the foreman, he laugh and say, you no remember the latest collective agreement? After so many years, your papa, he can have 1 week vacation with pay. When I tell my papa, he say, you mean to tell me that they're going to pay me for staying home? And so I have to show him the collective agreement. That week, he get up every morning, he shave and put on the suit. He go to the ospedale to see friend. On Sunday, he go to the Marconi for some vino for celebrazione. He say, look at me, signore!
My name is Elizabeth Barsanti, wife of Vincenzo Barsanti. I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie. My parents didn't want me to marry Vincenzo, and Italian. Ever since Angelina Napolitano, well, you know the story. She killed her husband with an axe. The newspaper declared that such hot-blooded behavior was expected of Italians with their guns and stilettos. Ever since that day, my parents didn't trust Italians, and certainly did not want their daughter dating one. Well, what can I say? He was very persistent. Did he tell you how we met? I volunteer at the hospital on Fridays, and he came in wailing. I have never heard a grown man cry like that before. And then he saw me, stopped, and smiled, asked me on a date. Just like that, he planned to swim at the locks and a picnic. He didn't speak much English, so I did have to help him, though. Right now, we live with Vincenzo's mom. But someday, I want to have a house of our own with a big yard for the children to play in. Vincenzo wants a garden. He likes rolling up a leaf of basil and sticking it in his nose and just walking around looking at the flowers. His father does the same thing, too. I think it's because they both lost their sense of smell from the fumes at Algoma Steel. Have you ever smelled fresh basil? It's heavenly. You know, before I met Vincenzo, I had never tasted such delicious food. The first time I came over to his house, His mom prepared an entire feast. Mortadella, prosciutto, pesto with bolognese sauce, chicken cutlets. I tried to be polite, but I couldn't help myself. We ate all night. And while we live with Vincenzo's mom, I want to learn all of her recipes.
What delightful performances by those talented youth. And all of the four that you just saw are students at the Northern Arts Academy, and they helped to workshop that original piece. I think you probably recognized at least a few of those stories that were shown to us tonight, familiar experiences for many of the families here in the Sioux. And again, we heard the voice of Ray Stortini as the playwright drew inspiration from his book, Only in Canada, Memories of an Italian Canadian. So as we reset our stage here, we'll get ready to welcome our final performance tonight and our headliner for this evening. For the first time in this series, we have a story told through movement. Choreographed to the original song here by local singer-songwriter Rod Smith, this contemporary dance piece, La Nonna è qui, portrays an Italian woman preparing a meal for her family. How lucky so many of us are to have grandmothers who show their love through delicious food. Here to perform her original piece, please welcome Skye Smith.
Let your guard down, let me walk free. In your garden, just you and me. We will go where we won't be found. I feel I know where if you aren't around. You know there's treasure here, it's buried where our hope and love reside. Exit marks the spot that was drawn by our intersecting lives. Even though she's laying low, she hides her pretty eyes and smiles, all in good time. We can hide by the distant glow. You're inside my heart, you have to know. I've come to love to hear the sweetest sound. When you say, oh my dear, just look around. Come across, my dear, I am here. The walk is not very far. The lantern, it is lit, and here I'll sit till I see where you are. And then I will stand to hold your hand to mend a broken heart, just for a start. And if our love should fall, we'll reverse it, standing up tall. If our love falls down, we'll reverse it. Here's how that will sound. You know there's treasure here, it's buried where our hope and love reside. Exit marks the spot that was drawn by our intersecting lives. Even though she's laying low, she hides her pretty eyes and smiles, all in good time. Come across, my dear, I am here. The walk is not very far. The lantern, it is lit, and here I'll sit till I see where you are. And then I will stand and hold your hand to mend a broken heart, just for a start. Treasure here, it's buried where our hope and love reside. Exit marks the spot that was drawn by our intersecting lives. And even though she's laying low, she hides her pretty eyes and smiles, all in good time.
That was so wonderful. Can you just smell the basil? Oh, this delicious food, and so lovely to be in the kitchen here with Nonna. Thank you so much, the lovely and talented Skye Smith, everybody. Skye, that was an incredibly moving piece, and I know that it's original, you created this and worked with a friend to choreograph it, but it's something near and dear to your heart, this story, I think. And I wonder if you could share a little bit about the inspiration. Where did it come from, and what does it mean to you?
Sure. So my Nonna, our Nonna, passed away in January, and I found myself wearing her old clothes, drinking her favorite tea, drinking her coffee the way she wanted it with lots of sugar, and not caring. And I wanted to celebrate her and grieve her in a healthy way, so this is the result of that. And yeah, honoring the matriarch of our family.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing such a personal story with us tonight. It really resonated with me. I also share many memories of my grandmother in the kitchen, and it's just so beautiful to feel that language of love coming through delicious food. I'll never say no to that.
The love language of a grandma is food.
Food. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that performance. And I would love at this time to invite all of our incredible performers back to the stage. Please welcome back our fascinating heritage presenter, Penny Gribbon, the lovely songstress, Rachel Laurenti, the delightful Ryan Mauro, the talented students of the Northern Arts Academy, Aidan Allen, Deslyn Saunders, Aurora Allen, and Ellie Nurkala. And of course, the incredible Skye Smith. Won't you all please take a bow? Thank you, Skye. I'm feeling the warmth and connection tonight, and I hope that I can impose on Rachel for one more rousing chorus of Mama to take us out tonight.
Mamma, solo per te la mia canzone vola. Mamma, sarai con me, tu non sarai più sola. Quanto ti voglio bene, queste parole d'amore che ti sospira il mio cuore, forse non si usano più. Mamma, ma la canzone la più bella sei tu la vita, e per la vita non ti lascio mai più. Mamma, mai più.
I sincerely hope you have all enjoyed these wonderful and heartwarming stories tonight. Stories Steeped in Stone is brought to you by a partnership of Friends of Ermatinger Clergue National Historic Site and Theatre in Motion. We are grateful for funding from Canadian Heritage that allowed this series to come to life. The next Stories Steeped in Stone, get your calendars, will be happening same time, same place, June 23rd, featuring Tracy Ludet, Teresa Binda, and Kristen Damarim. So make sure you get your tickets early and come right back and join us. Chimigwech, merci. Thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. Whether you were here in the space or tuning in from the comfort of your own home, we appreciated having you with us and really look forward to sharing time and space again at the next Stories Steeped in Stone. Au revoir, à bientôt, salut, bon appétit, and good night.